we are going to take a trip on a school bus that is magic. I don't know if I could say it the other way because I don't know how trademarks work, and it's early. I guess it's late. Whatever. That's a great opening. I know.
What an intro.
This is the Sprint Right Option podcast. We're going to go on a field trip to New Orleans today. I am Andrew Pasquini. With me on my right, it is Jason. I'm talking Wapante. How are you doing, Jason?
Man, that one's probably your best one yet.
Yeah, dude. I was listening to Meg before we were recording, and WAP came on, and I'm like, oh my god. And I'm afraid I may have just started another Jason Aponte meme, but whatever.
What are you gonna do?
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Yeah, dude. How's your Friday? I feel like it's been like 5 days. Actually, that's a lie. We talked on last night watching the game. But how's your week been? How you doing?
Well, it's good considering it's 2019 and the 49ers are getting ready for this crucial matchup with the New Orleans Saints. I'm just, on the edge of my seat trying to figure out if the 49ers will shake this pretenders label and get a hard-earned victory in New Orleans, man. I'm really nervous about this.
Are we going to do a 5-minute preview? I thought we were just reviewing the game.
Whatever you want to do, go for it.
So Jason alluded to it. We're going to do a little bit of, I'm going to say the word role playing. It's 2019. The 49ers just defeated the New Orleans Saints. And we're going to review that game as if, I don't know, we were doing a normal game review like we did back in, December, October, just normal show stuff. I don't know. This game draws to me for a multitude of reasons that maybe I'll touch on a little bit here in a bit. But yeah, this was the game we wanted to do for whatever reason. It's just the game we wanted to do. So we're going to go back in time, in 2019. We're going to review this game. I mean, we're probably going to step in and out of the time machine. I don't know, because
So it's like True Detective, right? There was, season 3, it was the gentleman who Mahershala Ali, right? And he played in True Detective in 3 different portions. He played himself 20 years down the line from investigating the murder, during the murder, and just right before then. So nothing about murder, but that'll be the way we are. We're going to dip in and out, and we're going to dip in and out of the time. We're just going to be able to say, hey, this is what we were feeling then. This is what we're feeling now. Pretty much.
Yes. So shall we dive in? Let's begin this breakdown. We appreciate you guys joining us for the next 30 minutes. I feel like I don't say that enough. We appreciate you guys. But the 49ers, we are in 2019. The 49ers defeated the New Orleans Saints 48-46. And Jason, I guess we'll start here because I think the thing that stood out, obviously this is Jimmy Garoppolo's best game as a 49er at this point.
Yes.
But if you were to create a website where you had to pay a monthly fee for specific content, and you were to name it, I don't know, Only Shans, this would be the top tier priced game for whatever pricing mechanism, whatever pricing scale they have on this fictional website called Only Shans. Shanahan was in his bag. This game was insane. He called, to me, a perfect game. What are your thoughts on the play calling from Kyle Shanahan? Because we haven't seen this side of Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, it was everything, and I think Coach understood exactly what he needed to get this done. He emptied the bag. He had put plenty on film that he had run things from and then run other things from it. And it's just a masterclass in, setting you up with film from earlier in the year. And that's really what, drew me to, the play designs are one thing, but it's like playing the mind games with people of showing the formation against Carolina and then running that Emmanuel Sanders, pass to Mostert out of it. It's just genius because what it does is the defense looks at it and we know exactly what's coming. Well, Kyle Shanahan is betting on that, and he's going to hit you with something else out of it, and that's really what draws me more to the play design. It's just like the mind games, the chess games.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Emmanuel Sanders touchdown pass. The play that stands out to me is the Kyle Juszczyk option run pitch play to Mostert. I think it resulted in a touchdown, if I remember correctly. Who draws that up? Like, to hand the ball off to your fullback sweeping right, and have him pitch it out to your running back for, I believe, if I remember correctly, was a touchdown. Like who draws that up? That's insane. That is college level play calling. And Kyle Shanahan, that's a college style play. And Kyle Shanahan ran it in the NFL, and it resulted in points for the 49ers. This is the marquee Kyle Shanahan game.
Yeah, and you know, for that reason, you know, we you know what's funny is, you know, when you watch a game, you know, you just remember the result, right? Sometimes you miss the finer details. We got our first preview of anybody other than the quarterback in a wildcat position too as well. Right? Did we not? We did. So how many former quarterbacks do the 49ers have on their roster in 2019, including the one Jet McKinnon who doesn't play?
So I believe if we're thinking about it, Richie, so we're going to step back into present day. Could you imagine how different this podcast memes would be if we started last year? Like Richie James from the Wildcat would be the meme.
Man, and imagine if that was a crucial play that, you know, people will point to and say, you know, hey, they didn't get it done there. It would be Richie James from the Wildcat. That would be the official meme of the Sprint Right Option podcast.
Well, what's funny too is the play worked as well as the McKinnon one. Kyle Shanahan does not have a great
Wildcat
history with the Wildcat. This one was a 2nd and goal at the 5-yard line, and James got stopped for a loss of 1. But I was okay with that Wildcat call because it was on a 2nd down. You get another down after that play. Obviously the McKinnon one was a 3rd and 5, which just didn't go well. But yeah, no, the official meme of this podcast would have been Richie James from the Wildcat. It worked because the next play, we're going to talk about it. This is by far Jimmy Garoppolo's best game.
This is Garoppolo's swan song here. I don't think that he's ever been better.
Like people are going to go back and be like, what about the Jaguar game? It's like, man, that was a game that the night, like it meant nothing. Like it was cool and all that stuff.
They weren't supposed to win that game though. So I get that.
I get that. But like in the scheme of that season, it meant nothing. That win meant nothing. But in this situation, man, the Niners, I believe they entered this game, both teams at 10-2. The Saints are probably the second best team in the NFC. I know the Packers exist, but we all knew the Packers weren't as good as they, you know, their record said. And Jimmy Garoppolo, just a very light 26 for 35, 349 yards, 4 touchdowns and interception. He was throwing some dots, some absolute dots. And I don't know, man, it was just such a simple time back then, man. Yeah, I loved it. I loved rewatching it. Just some of the throws and plays he was making. That's what you want Garoppolo to be more consistently. And I know it's obviously hard to be consistent at that level. Like everybody struggles to be consistent. Like not everybody's throwing 4 touchdown passes a game.
Right.
But this was the marquee Jimmy Garoppolo game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and then you start with one of the earliest throws from the game that he had. You know, he throws a dart in between 2 guys with Emmanuel Sanders running a slant on the inside, and he's able to get it in there, and Sanders is able to take it and run with it, man. Like, you know, there was just something about this game. You know, Jimmy was dialed in, man, and Kyle was dialed in with his play calling. You know, the 49ers receivers had no issue really getting open, you know, in this game. And you know, and this was the first time that this year, you know, in 2019, we have seen the 49ers defense fold. And I think that's why this is his best game. This is the first time that he couldn't rely on the defense. This is his best game. It's not an argument. It's not up for debate. This is his best game. He was asked to put up almost 50. That's what he had to do. They didn't do anything on defense. They didn't score any points on defense, anything like that. He had to put up 50 and beat Drew Brees. This isn't beating Arizona and Kyler Murray. This isn't beating, you know, those. He had to go into New Orleans in a hostile territory and put up 48. This is hands down Jimmy Garoppolo's best game. Not even close. And
a game they had to win. This isn't like this is week 3 in New Orleans. This is week 14. The 1 seed is on the line. Like the Niners had to win this game. And this is coming off of a loss against the Baltimore Ravens. This was in the middle of that stretch. I believe it was Green Bay.
That stretch.
It was Green Bay, Baltimore, New Orleans. And I don't like to cuss, but really the only word you can describe that Packers game is the Niners shit pumped them, right? And that's what it was. Like they went out on Sunday Night Football and just
Did you just curse?
absolutely obliterated. I did. But then the next week they go to Baltimore. They, not a great game. They didn't really have their best stuff. A lot of it had to do with the weather. I mean, we saw it earlier in the year against I'm not going to revert to 2019 saying I'm going to call them the Washington football team. We saw them earlier in the year against the Washington football team where they put up 9 points in a game where pretty much the same weather. This one felt like the real prove it game. Baltimore didn't necessarily matter. Like it would have been great to win that game, but that's not a conference game. That's a game that you could afford to lose. The Niners had zero wiggle room to lose this game because if they lose this game, all of a sudden now you're probably going to. Oh, I don't even remember the playoff bracket last year. I was going to say.
Well, it won't even come down to week 17 then, because week 17 came down to the NFC West and the number 1 seed basically for the 49ers, and they're not in position to do that unless they win this game. And I'm still of the mind that Baltimore game they should have won. They should have won that game as well too. And that's that's the one thing that we have to say about the 2019 49ers. Yes, everybody understands the result of the season and everything as well too. But man, those guys, every game that they were asked, because every game was, you can't beat this team, you can't beat this team, you can't beat this team. It felt like the 49ers had to win this game against New Orleans to shut some people up, man. Just to even if in our hearts we felt like they were the best team in the NFC that year, and they were. The national media, the national mainstream, audience, the NFL audience was still very, very, very skeptical of this team. So I felt like they had to have this game, not only for circumstances that you just talked about, it was almost to just shut everybody up a little bit too, and just say, hey, look, now you got to kind of eat it now because, again, you want to say what you want about being carried by the defense. There was no defense in this game.
None. Not at all. And I guess the best compliment I could say about Jimmy Garoppolo in this game, his worst throw of the game resulted in a 75-yard touchdown. And it wasn't even a bad throw because he just maxed his arm out. That's all it was. The only reason it was underthrown so horrendously is because even Jamarcus Russell has a limit to how far he can throw a football. The pass to Emmanuel Sanders, and Emmanuel Sanders deserves a ton of credit on that play.
He adjusted to it. He made the play. That's what you want your receiver to do.
Mm-hmm. And that's a huge play too, because it happens. New Orleans goes up on the first play in the second quarter. They go up 20-7. The Niners get the ball, and literally the first play from scrimmage, Shanahan's like, yeah, we're just going to chuck it deep. We're going to see what happens. And as I said, Garoppolo underthrows it probably because he maxes his arm out, and Emmanuel Sanders makes the adjustment. And the tricky thing is with this play is he catches it and falls down, but has the awareness to get up because he didn't have the ball when he was touched, has the awareness to get up and run for the touchdown. So the Niners get a little bit closer. It's 20-14 now. Deontay Harris, and that's another side thing of this game. Deontay Harris had a game.
And you nailed that from the outset. I thought you were tripping. No,
he had 5 punt kick returns for 155 yards, an average of 31 yards per return, 51 yard was the longest of return. He had 2 punt returns for 37 yards. He was torching the 49ers. And I remember it because I look him up because he's just this. He's short. He's not tall. And I look up what school he went to. He goes to Assumption College. It's where is that? What is Assumption College? And this guy is just torching the 49ers. The Niners go into the half. And I'm probably forgetting a lot of things because I really felt like the big play of the second quarter was Emmanuel Sanders' 75-yard touchdown. The Saints actually go down and score a touchdown.
The thing that really stood out to me on their side, and it was again when we watched it, and this was awesome that you and I got to sit and watch this game again, right?
Yes.
Just restore the feeling and everything as well too. But the Jared Cook injury landed at a point where it was almost at a point where the and you pointed it out, the Saints were very, very keying in on the seam with Jared Cook. Marcel Harris played in this game. I don't think Jaquiski Tartt played in this game, so. Marcel Harris, missed a tackle on a Jared Cook touchdown. We all remember how his game ends, unfortunately. Akilo, hits him, in the head, and unfortunately he gets a concussion. That was his second touchdown. But, if you go back and you looked at the mic'd up from this game, Drew Brees went right to Jared Cook like it's your matchup. He's like, it's you. He goes, I'm looking at you. He goes, and I'm going to you and everything as well too. So, I thought that was one of the things that, that's the stuff that gets lost in the shuffle of games. Yep. It's like, what happens if Jared Cook is there the entire game and they continue to pick on that, right? And those are the things that you really have to. That's what made this game so intriguing to look back on, because of all of these things that we're talking about.
Yeah, and Ken, just to answer your question real quick, shouldn't we be discussing the now instead of the past? We have spent since mid-December talking about.
I'm tired of talking about now.
We're tired of talking about the offseason. The offseason
There's nothing to talk about.
Hasn't even.
Today's Friday. Pull up and enjoy yourself. We're just going to talk about this.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this game. We'll have plenty of offseason talk when free agency starts. We have a couple weeks before we have to worry about it. I was incorrect about the second quarter not featuring anything else. I scrolled through too fast. The Saints followed up the Emmanuel Sanders touchdown with a pretty good drive, covered about 7 minutes in the second quarter. The Niners follow up with the Emmanuel Sanders touchdown pass to Raheem Mostert. And I think my favorite part about that play is the Saints brought some pressure, and Sanders had to throw in the face of pressure, but he saw how wide open Raheem Mostert was, and his throw was literally just get it in the zip code of him. He's going to catch it and score, and that's exactly what happened. And that was just another example of Kyle Shanahan reaching into that bag and getting a touchdown.
So can we talk about Only Shans material? Because this is straight up Only Shans material.
Oh, we can talk about Only Shans all you want.
So Carolina Panthers game, the Deebo Samuel inside handoff, right? That formation is flipped on that play, and they hand it off to Deebo to do the same exact thing. So you have to understand that the Saints saw that on film, and they're like, oh, here, we got it. And then he uses it to flip the ball to Sanders, and then that becomes a pass. That really, when I went back and I looked at the film, and I was like, man, I've never seen that formation before. And it was the same exact thing, just flipped what they ran in Carolina, man. And again, this is Kyle Shanahan understanding before this game. I've got to unload the bag. There's nothing that I'm going to hold there. Like, we're going to throw the kitchen sink at you for you to have that play, and then to have the flip from Juice, man. The only way that you can run that play is if you have a former quarterback who is your fullback, right? Because it's not about the flip. It's about the timing of it. It's about the timing of the option and making sure that you're getting hit and you have to get rid of it. Kyle Juszczyk took a bomb of a hit, and he lets that ball go right on time to Mostert, and Mostert does the rest, man. It's just, again, the things that I talk about when I talk about play design and stuff like that, that's fine. But this game is a masterclass in showing you something on film and then just showing you that I'm going to hit you with something completely different out of it, and you're not going to know what's coming, man. It's just Sean Payton and Kyle Shanahan, both of them, where this was straight up who is going to get it. It always felt like whoever was going to have the ball last was going to be the one who won the game. And that's really what happened in this game.
Yeah, this was a 12-round heavyweight fight. They were just throwing blows at each other. They go into the half. The Niners actually take the lead 28-27. Right near the end of the half, Raheem Mostert has a 10-yard touchdown run. And, I mean, just so crazy. Like, talk about, perfect things having to happen for teams and all that. The Saints entered this quarter scoring on the first play of the second quarter. They're up 20-7. The 49ers at half take a 28-27 lead. So they make up score. They scored a lot. That's really what it is. Like, as simple as it sounds. So they go into half 28-27. The Niners go 3 and out on their first drive. They really brought pressure on that first drive, if I remember correctly.
2 sacks by Garoppolo, I think, on that one. 2 sacks on Garoppolo, I mean.
Yes. Yeah. And then the Saints go down, kick a field goal, take the 30-28 lead. And this is where the game starts to turn. So the Niners go 3 and out. The Saints get the ball at their own 20-yard line. First play, Alvin Kamara runs up the middle. DJ Jones gets his hand in there. DeForest Buckner falls on it. 49ers ball at the 20-yard line. First play was a 15-yard completion to Kyle Juszczyk. George Kittle, the very next play, touchdown for 5 yards. 34-30. Kick the field goal 35-30. Niners have the lead halfway through the third quarter. And how big is that fumble, that forced fumble from DJ Jones?
Yeah, as much as we talked about no defense, there was timely defensive plays, right? Like Nick Bosa stopping Taysom Hill, if he doesn't get his hand on his ankle, he probably gets a first down,
Yep.
things like that. There was timely defense, but for the most part, the 49ers defense was getting worked in that game. It was so many points. Like that's the reason that I give Jimmy Garoppolo the credit, man, is because you had to score 47 points. They scored 46. You had to score at least 47, man. There has to be something that needs to be said about going into New Orleans and doing that. I get divisional games, and, if you want to make the argument for other games, that's fine. It's just hard for me to, not look at this game as the definitive Jimmy Garoppolo game of 2019 based on the idea that, one, he was flawless with turnovers in this game, right? Like, no turnovers in this game.
He had the one interception that was off Sanders' hands.
Yeah, but that's all Sanders' hands, right? Yes. And when we look at it again, me being the couch potato guy, right? I'm going to tell you that I think that Emmanuel Sanders probably should have either knocked that down a little bit further or got it, scored or caught it. I mean, scored, yeah. Caught it, so I'm not going to really call him out on that. What I mean is he didn't have one of those throws where you're just like, what was that? He didn't have that in this game. Like,
he didn't have the oh no throw.
Yeah, and then once that's done, all Jimmy does is go right back out there on the next drive and just go ahead and and get down the field. So it's not like Jimmy throws that interception at any time and just goes in the tank. That's the one thing you always have to give Jimmy Garoppolo credit for, is that he comes right back out and he keeps firing, and that's what he did in this game, man. And again, if you would have told me before the game that the New Orleans Saints were going to score 46 points, I would have said, man, the 49ers got worked in this game.
Yeah,
they won. That's why I'm still what I'm saying about Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yep. And so the Niners take the 35-30 lead. The Saints go down. They kick a field goal, which last night I said I probably wouldn't have kicked a field goal in that situation. Down 5, 4th and 4 at the 49ers 30. They opt for the field goal. The Niners get the ball back up 2 points. They stall out. They punt. Saints get the ball back. And this is where I learned one of the most obscure rules in football. Jason, before week 14 in 2019, did you know that, and I need you to be honest with me, did you know that you can't commit pass interference on a fake punt?
I didn't. And I learned that then. Taysom Hill's there, and they tried to run a fake punt, and all that Tarvarius Moore did at being gunner was he was doing his job. He didn't realize that. Right, he didn't realize the pass was up. That's why you can't have pass interference there. So I didn't know that then. It would be revisionist history on my part if I were to tell you that I knew that. I did not know that.
Yeah, I remember, like, oh my God, that's pass interference. Where's the flag? And then I forget who the announcer was, and I'm sorry.
Kevin Burkhardt and Charles Davis.
There you go. Kevin Burkhardt, like right off if you go watch this replay, right off the bat, you can't commit pass interference on fake punts. And it's like, how do you know that? Like off the top of your head.
That's why he's an announcer.
Impressive. And so the Niners respond to that. Up to, they go on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 play drive. There's a couple penalties, so like 13 plays, we'll call it that. And this might be the play of Garoppolo's season, career. The off timing throw to Kendrick Bourne, and you had a very good point. I want you to talk about this play because you know all about the all 22 and the X's and how things are supposed to work. Talk about this play.
Goodness gracious, man. And this is, you know what, you hit the nail on the head. I think, and feel free to disagree, I think this is Jimmy's apex throw of throws, right? So the pressure comes in, and remember, this is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is after Richburg left the game, right? So Ben Garland gets thrown into the fracas, and they're just like, go play center in the middle of this huge game. Like, go in there. That's always what impressed me about Ben Garland, is that he was ready for this game, even when he was thrown into duty. But the scramble drill, just Kendrick Bourne understands when he gets a look and he knows that his quarterback is moving to keep moving. And Jimmy Garoppolo is so off platform, off of the wrong foot, throwing an absolute dart exactly where it needed to be, man. I think, and, feel free to, at me on Twitter about it. I think that is Jimmy Garoppolo's best throw of his 49ers tenure thus far, any year. And it comes in such a big moment, man. Kendrick Bourne, everybody, all year, what do you need about Kendrick Bourne? Well, basically all of his catches were first downs on third down or either touchdowns in the red zone. And this one none was bigger than this one, right? A field goal here, you feel good for the Saints. That's a moral victory. But man, that scramble drill, and for him to find the spot to get open and Jimmy to hit him, that's Jimmy's best throw, in my opinion.
Yeah, Kendrick Bourne had 2 red zone touchdowns, and this is a game that like I go back and like this is what example 1A of why Kendrick Bourne. I think the Niners should bring him back. I think he's their best red zone target. He is not. He's shown it on multiple occasions. He's not afraid to box defensive backs out to get that ball. Like he is very physical. I know people like to talk about Kittle and how big and physical he is. He's a good red zone target. I disagree. Kittle is at his best in the open field where he can kind of isolate people. We'll talk about that here in a couple minutes if you guys remember the play that happened. But yeah, his red zone ability, just something about him. I don't know what it is. He's not like particularly the biggest guy, but he works in the red zone, and it's something I've always loved about him. And this game really showed it. He had 2 red zone touchdowns, huge plays. And this one was probably by far the most impressive. I mean, him improvising on the route, getting a spot where Garoppolo can find him, and he put it on the money, man. Like that throw is insane. That throw is
love how off platform he is. He's got a leg up off the ground, and he's just like, like that. Like, look, sometimes, right? Sometimes the best throws are the ones that you make off schedule when you started to play backyard football. And it felt like, Jimmy was at his best when he was moving, out of the pocket a little bit and having to make throws like that, man. And that throw, it impresses me to this day, man. What a throw and what a moment. That's the thing. I think that the throw gets elevated because of the game and the moment, right? Like this wasn't during a week 1 game. This was during a gotta have it game. This was a playoff game. Yeah. This was a playoff game. This needed to be treated as a playoff game, and I think the 49ers did. D Ford gets hurt early in the game. He goes away. We forgot about that. Sorry. But
not even that, but they used him inside a couple times. It was something
I saw that as well too. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Because you think that he's just an edge rusher and they were using stunts to get him inside, man. Just, and then it sucks because you're watching and you're just like, look how dominant this defense is, right? And it's like, well, wait a minute. Nick Bosa, DeForest Buckner, D Ford. Wait a minute. Like that's like, do you understand? It in 2019, we thought we had something. In 2021, when you think about what those 3 guys were, you're thinking about probably one of the best defensive lines in the history of the game, honestly, at this point.
Yeah. I mean, this game. Yeah. I get goosebumps I got goosebumps last night. I told you that. So the Saints respond. They're down 9 with 9 minutes to go. They respond with a pretty good drive. They get down quick, 75 yards. He hits Michael Thomas for a touchdown, 42-40. This is roughly when Thomas started taking over. Niners respond with a field goal. So now they're up 5 points, 2.5 minutes left in the game. And Drew Brees just kind of goes to work. Drew Brees to Traquan Smith, 11 yards. Incomplete to Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, 11 yards. Ted Ginn, this play, Sherm gets hurt on the Michael Thomas play. Right. Ginn is wide open. Like nobody takes Sherman's
Mosley didn't understand his assignment right then.
Yeah, there's miscommunication. Ginn gets 25 yards. Michael Thomas 5. They go back-to-back incomplete passes, but Mosley gets called for a pass interference, sets up a 1st and 10, 49ers 18-yard line, a minute to go. Breeze finds Traquan Smith. Fred Warner misses a tackle, and then I believe Akello Witherspoon misses a tackle. Traquan Smith goes in, scores a touchdown. The Saints take a 46-45 lead. They try for a 2-point conversion. They don't get it.
I think what's important about that, though, is that they scored when they did. Right?
You can't give 53 seconds to Jimmy Garoppolo. I've always said that.
Well, here's the thing, and I agree with you on that because we were talking about it, and it was like, man, if Fred makes that stop, those guys run the clock down and nobody gets the ball back at the. It's just funny how when you go back and you look at how things play out, right? Like, look, you could be during the game saying, "Oh man, they both missed 2 tackles." The best thing they could have done was let him score right there, unless they were just going to keep them out of the end zone completely. But that's the funny part about that dichotomy when it comes to, do you let them score, or do you just try to stop them completely? And it worked out in the 49ers' favor clearly.
Well, yeah, hindsight is 2020. I remember not being too happy that they let the Saints score because, like, for me too, I trust the defense that much that, like, okay, they have, a minute left. They got to go 10 yards, or they got to go 20 yards. Excuse me. They can do this. This is fully possible. This defense just has to turn it on. They missed the tackles. Like, okay, well, we're gonna see what happens. Niners have all 3 timeouts, so they start the drive. Garoppolo, quick little hitter. George Kittle, 8 yards. Boom. Garoppolo then incomplete to Sanders, incomplete to Kittle. And here we go. 4th and 2, ball at the own 33-yard line. Season low-key on the line. Like, they're going to the playoffs, but this is the difference between a 1-seed possibility and being a wild card team. And
having to go on the road for all your games.
Yeah, and like, they don't make the Super Bowl if they lose this game, right? Like, nope. I think that's what it is. I don't think anybody can argue that, because you don't. It's very difficult. What the Buccaneers did this year is very rare. A lot of teams, and it helps that they got rid of one of the first-round buys, but I believe every Super Bowl representative for the past 10 years before this year came out of that first-round buy area. So yeah, Niners 4th and 2, own 33-yard line, and Garoppolo, I mean, the play was pretty simple. It was designed to get the first down.
Route.
It was an option route. Kittle hits that outside. Garoppolo puts it on him. And George Kittle just goes to work. He carries about 17 Saints players. I don't know how that's possible, but he carries 17 Saints players for about 15 yards. Marcus Williams, just like arguably the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen on a football field. A man is pulling you by a face mask to try and pull you down. And Kittle's just like, you got to try harder than that, my guy. Like, you can't do that. And the 49ers have a very rich and illustrious franchise history and obviously Super Bowls and all that stuff. This is probably the best play in 49ers regular season history, because I'm not, like, obviously the catch exists and all the Super Bowls. This is the number one play in 49ers regular season history, and it's not even close.
It's up there, man. It really is. And I won't fight you on that, and I can see it clear as day, and I can hear that this is how much I was tapped into this game, man. Like, I remember Averly took a nap during the game, before the game started, and I was like, cool, she might sleep through the entire game. Well, guess what? Not so fast, my friend. She's up in the 4th quarter, and you're going to have to put the TV on and change it. Yeah, so you have to put the big TV for her, and you have to watch it on a little TV, which is my tablet or my laptop. But I remember Kevin Burkhardt's call. Kittle down by the 30. He's still reaching, pulling guy. He's down to the 40. George Kittle. And I remember, and then just like when George gets up and his face mask is like pulled up, and he just like, man, that at that moment, I was George Kittle, you were George Kittle, we were George Kittle. And that's really, that moment is gonna live rent free in my mind for the rest of my time as a 49er fan.
Man, it's so funny, like, how much my tune has changed after watching this game on the Deshaun Watson speculation, and like the Niners have to trade one of the 3 of Warner and whatever.
And it's like, Kittle, there's no way you can trade him.
And now I'm just like, yo, we can't do that. Like, you see how, like, I miss Nick Bosa. Like, he is so good, and like, you kind of forget it because you didn't see him all year last year. He didn't put up big numbers in this game because, the Saints kind of neutralized him, but he's in the backfield every play. And
dude,
you can't trade any of them. You can't trade any of them. That's just
anytime that I watch 2019, I'm just like, there's Nick Bosa. Oh my God, look at Nick Bosa. I'm just like, look at him. That's always what, anytime that I've watched any 2019 game since, I've always said the same thing. I'm just like, my God, Nick Bosa is so good at football, man. Like, he's incredible.
It was never a matter of if he gets in the backfield. It's just a matter of how many times he's going to get in the backfield. Like, and he's insane. And yeah, I have a bit of the same story with the kid. Like, this game, my favorite game of all time, hands down, I think, just because situation I'm in, I'm 3 days removed from a mental hospital stay. That's a story for another day. This game happens. First time I'm happy for about a week and a half. I have a shirt that has Kittle carrying 19 Saints players on his back. I mean, the Steelers game, the week 3 or week 4 Steelers game was the first game that I'm like, yeah, this Niners team is good, because the Niners turned the ball over like 5 or 6 times that game, and they won. And bad teams don't win that game. This is the game where my first thought of this team can win a Super Bowl.
Yep. And that's what I wanted them to do here. That's why I wanted them to win this game, because I wanted to be able to say, you know what? They've done it all. And if, God forbid they end up coming back here, they still have it's funny. You brought it up.
Yeah.
49ers Saints in recent history, no matter who's playing, who's the quarterback, who's the coach, those games are electric.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have the NFC divisional game. You have the Drew Brees getting hit by Ahmad Brooks.
You have Kaepernick's throw. You have Kaepernick's throw to Crabtree from like he rolls out and he just throws it like 60 yards in the air the other way. Even look, even 2020's game.
Yeah, the Jameis Winston game. I was going to mention that.
Yeah, that has electricity to it too, right? Like that, like it's just something juiced up about the 49ers and Saints that whenever they link, it's always going to be one of those games.
Yeah, and that's what this one was. The marquee win of the 49ers 2019 season, I believe. Actually, it's really hard to say
question,
that because then you got to remember what happened 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Or 3 weeks later.
That's what I was going to ask you. So talk to me because it's in the comments and it's a good question. It's a good question. Week 17 against Seattle. This game against New Orleans. I think that's not fair to put up against because it's such a division rival and somebody that has caused so much pain to the 49ers. So I would lean week 17. Yeah. Having said that, this is still Jimmy Garoppolo's best game thus far as a 49ers quarterback, thus far, for me. But that's hard, man. It's hard. Week 17, they had to exercise demons that, the 49ers have won in New Orleans before. They've won big games in there. They've taken their heart out there. The 49ers never really won in Seattle, and that's really why I kind of lean week 17.
You're asking me to pick between my two favorite kids, right? You're asking me which kid is my favorite. I'm gonna go with the Saints game, just because of where I was personally.
Yeah,
and as I said, sorry for another day. I don't need to talk about it. And that Kittle play, I think that Kittle play is more iconic than the Greenlaw. And I just think it's more for the imagery of George Kittle carrying three guys because tackles happen at the 1 yard line all the time. Obviously, the Dre Greenlaw is a totally different situation, right? That's to win a division and all that stuff. I get that, but just the image of George Kittle. Guy grabbing his face mask, guy jumps on his back. It's almost a cartoon of a guy gets enough momentum and they're doing whatever they can to stop him, except it's real life. George Kittle carried three grown men. And the meme, you and I were trying to tackle him.
Right. That's the meme, right? That it's when the three sons are trying to get their father down. That's literally what it was at that point. It's the same exact thing.
Yeah. And that play, man, just the 4th and 2 going from hey, just get the first down to, okay, they got the first down to okay, they're getting yardage. And then the face mask happens and it's oh my God, they're in field goal range.
Game's over.
And Robbie Gould, Mr. Consistency, as I like to call him, I would say he's worth probably about $4 million a year. He makes the field goal as time expires, and the 49ers win 48-46. They go on, I believe the next week is Atlanta. They go on to lose to Atlanta. They go on to lose to Atlanta, which whatever. That game was a weird game. Go on to beat the Rams, then they go on to beat the Seahawks. The playoffs happen, and then they just kind of stopped after the NFC Championship game. I don't remember.
Well, they stopped at the third quarter. The third quarter is where I stopped remembering stuff about.
Yeah. I honestly think they canceled the season. I don't know. There's this thing called coronavirus. I don't remember what exactly.
It's never going to make its way over to the United States. Ever.
Never. It would never happen. But yeah. So that's 49ers Saints. I enjoyed watching this game again, Jason. We probably should do this more often. We wanted to do a fun episode before things get stressful again with free agency starting. Everything we're at a point where everything's going to start kicking off at this point. Everything, all the speculation. We're finally going to find out the answer to all the speculation we've had for the past 5 or 6 weeks now. So we wanted to do something fun before it got more serious.
Yeah, 5 more days. 5 more days. March 10th is the day that everybody should start paying attention. You might see a flurry of things happen. Now, I'm not talking about trades. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about movement where real players are not going to be on teams anymore, and you're going to start to see things happen, I think, in 5 days. So it was really good to do this just because we wanted to break up the discussion on Twitter and how much, look, we have plenty of time to kill each other over our opinions about, who's going to be drafted and what's going to happen, right? I really wanted this episode because, one, it's Friday. Let's have some fun. And two, let's talk about something, this fan base loves nostalgia. Our biggest episodes are the episodes where we review Dallas, that rivalry, when we review the Seahawks rivalry. Yeah, I mean, we didn't do it for clicks. We just wanted to, have fun. Like last night, we were like, hey, man, let's watch it. Let's watch this game and let's talk about it. So, look, we're not skirting the issue. We have plenty to say about what's going on. I wanted to personally say some good things because everything has gotten so negative across the board. And I think I want to change all that, right? Like, let's get back to what was fun about being a fan and stuff, and that's the part.
It's football. It's supposed to be fun. We shouldn't be at each other's throats. I've said that multiple times on the pod.
It's because you're the sweetest man alive.
I try. I definitely try.
Doesn't seem like you try.
I do be. Speaking of sweetest man in the world, I started watching Ted Lasso, and I don't know if you've watched it all.
I have. Jason Sudeikis. Go.
I'm about, I don't know, I'm 4 episodes through, man. That is such a heartwarming comedy, and I love every second of it. So
Apple TV low key has some bangers like that regarding David, and my personal favorite is because Avery loves it, the Snoopy show, the new one.
Snoopy show,
yeah, she loves it. She and thank you, Apple. Shout out to Apple TV.
Shout out Apple TV. Yeah, I definitely maybe telling a little too much. I'm very excited to watch the Billie Eilish documentary. That's probably what I'm going to watch tonight.
That's fine. What are you going to do?
I'm a big Billie Eilish guy. I'm a big sad boy music person. So
sad boy.
Billie Eilish, but it's boy with BOI. Give me Billie Eilish, give me Hobo Johnson, give me all that sad boy music. So that's gonna be it. It took a hard left turn there. So to wrap it up, the 49ers beat the Saints 48-46. We'll be back next week. We'll let you know the schedule. I'm in Seattle next weekend.
Probably gonna link with Akash.
Might meet Akash. Don't know. But yeah, so don't know what the plan is for Friday yet. Don't know what the plan is. We'll let you know as soon as we come to a decision, and it might just come down to how spicy the rumors get. I don't know why I did that.
Well, one more thing before we go.
Jason says.
So there was a challenge put out there online. Yeah. So
I was hoping you wouldn't bring it. Yes.
Do you want to elaborate a little for me?
So we got Jason to 700 YouTube subscribers. And I wanted to set a very lofty, because he was at what, 696?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he was at 696. Like, hey, be cool to get to 700. So I threw down the gauntlet because I'm very excited about baseball season. I threw down the gauntlet. It's like, hey, Jason, if you can get more followers on YouTube than Barry Bonds has career home runs, which that number is 762. By the time our show starts on Friday, I will do a live stream of me eating chili with a cinnamon roll. I have been told since that nobody explained to me that it's just a side. I just assumed, nobody explained it. I just assumed you're supposed to pour the chili on the cinnamon roll and eat it. I've been now told that is wrong, but I am going to eat it the way I thought it was going to be. And I will dip my cinnamon roll in the chili for you guys. That will be a live stream at some point next week. I don't know exactly when. It really comes down to whenever I decide to go to Target and get some chili and cinnamon rolls. 90% of when that decision is going to be made. So next week, be on the lookout. I don't know, Jason. Do you want to jump in with me?
I'm in. Yeah, of course, I'm in. I am.
Well, maybe we can pencil in a little after show fun.
Oh, something that's not for the audio crowd.
Separate. Well, in that stream, and then just turn on another stream where I'm just eating. I don't know. We'll figure something out. So that's going to be it. Be on the lookout for me eating chili with cinnamon rolls next week. But congratulations, Jason. Andrew. I'm very happy that we got you actually even higher than your goal, because now you're at a point where you can maybe even say, hey, let's shoot for 800 now.
Yeah, 800 seems like it's pretty close, honestly. And I got a little letter from YouTube. We're getting close to being able to monetize over here. So let's keep it rolling.
Gotta monetize it. Hey, Jason. As always,
let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. That was Garoppolo's best game, and it wasn't even close.
That's it.